welcome to our 7 Days Report Show. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsiloyanis. Here, we bring you all the news from around the world through all major media outlets. We bring you all the news that matters most. We delve into real news affecting our society, politics, economy, culture, and education. Let's get started with our first news. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel warned Monday that any U.S. military assault on Cuba will cause a bloodbath with incalculable consequences, escalating rhetoric amid renewed tensions between Havana and Washington. Díaz-Canel's comments, posted on X, came as relations between the two countries have frayed after a series of incidents and diplomatic disputes that have renewed mutual mistrust. Cuba poses no threat, nor does it have aggressive plans or intentions against any country. It has none against the U.S., nor has it ever had any, something the government of that nation knows well, the president wrote, underscoring Havana's portrayal of itself as a non-aggressive actor and framing any U.S. military action as an unprovoked assault. The warning follows weeks of heightened attention in Washington to activities near Cuban airspace and maritime approaches and reports of intelligence flights and other operations that U.S. officials say are aimed at monitoring security developments in the region. Cuban authorities have denounced what they describe as provocative military posturing and economic pressure and have repeatedly accused the United States of meddling in internal affairs. Analysts say Díaz-Canel's strong language serves both international and domestic purposes, signaling to global audiences and regional allies that Cuba would resist external coercion, while rallying domestic support amid economic strain and recent unrest. Regional governments and multilateral organizations have expressed concern and urged restraint from both sides to prevent escalation. U.S. officials have not indicated any intention to launch a military assault and have emphasized diplomatic and intelligence options to address bilateral issues. Still, the episode highlights deep suspicions left over from decades of antagonism that analysts warn could spiral if miscalculated steps are taken. Diplomats on both sides now face a delicate task, lowering temperatures while preserving national positions in a relationship marked by long-standing rivalry. Fear has gripped Ebola-hit areas in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as the suspected death toll climbs, and officials say they are struggling to catch up to an outbreak that may have been spreading undetected for weeks. In the gold mining town of Rwampara, a taxi rider in his late 20s summed up the mood. Ebola has tortured us. His words reflect mounting anxiety among residents who say market stalls stand empty. Schools have closed, and funeral processions are now sources of dread rather than solace. Health workers report a rising number of suspected cases in isolated mining and farming communities across North Kivu and Ituri provinces. Limited testing capacity and damaged transport routes have delayed confirmations, officials say, allowing transmission chains to persist undetected. We are running to catch up, a senior Ministry of Health official said, requesting anonymity while coordinating logistics. Mobile teams are being deployed, but vaccine supplies and protective equipment remain stretched. Local clinics are overwhelmed. Staff shortages, driven by fear and a history of attacks on health facilities in the region, complicate contact tracing and safe burials, key tools for containing Ebola. Community resistance and misinformation have further hampered response efforts, with some residents hiding sick relatives for fear of isolation or stigma. International partners, including the World Health Organization and Medicines Sans Frontières, have urged stepped-up surveillance and rapid vaccination of contacts and frontline workers. Yet experts warn that delays in detection make containment harder and raise the risk of wider spread. Economic disruptions are already apparent. Miners report lost income as operations halt, while market vendors struggle to sell produce. For many families, the immediate fear is both of the disease and of how to survive if quarantine measures continue. Authorities say they are intensifying public information campaigns to rebuild trust and urge anyone with symptoms to seek care. For now, Rwampara and other communities remain on edge, bracing for what could be a prolonged fight against a virus that has returned to a region with painful memories of past outbreaks. Israeli police on Wednesday forced activists from a Gaza-bound aid flotilla to kneel on the ground in rows with their hands tied behind their backs while a government minister looked on, prompting international criticism and unease inside Israel's own political ranks. The activists, who were aboard vessels intercepted by Israeli forces in international waters on Tuesday, were detained and later brought to an Israeli port. Video and photos from the scene showed uniformed officers arranging the detainees in lines as they knelt, some visibly distressed. A minister stood nearby during the procedure, drawing sharp rebukes from foreign governments and human rights groups that called the images shocking and disproportionate. Israeli authorities defended the interception and detentions as necessary for security, saying the flotilla's attempt to reach Gaza without coordination risked breaching maritime and border rules. Officials described the operation as measured and said detainees would face questioning and possible legal action. They stressed that security forces had acted under orders to prevent unauthorized entry into Gaza. Still, the optics of kneeling detainees and a minister's presence triggered criticism from international leaders who urged restraint and adherence to human rights norms. Within Israel, some coalition members and opposition figures expressed concern, with a few government officials calling for an investigation into police conduct and the decision to have a minister present during the processing of detainees. The flotilla organizers said their mission was purely humanitarian and condemned the use of force, calling for the immediate release of activists and unfettered delivery of aid to Gaza. The incident adds to mounting tensions over aid access and maritime operations in the region and is likely to intensify diplomatic scrutiny of Israeli tactics at sea. China and Russia on Thursday condemned the United States' decision to charge Cuba's former president, Raul Castro, with murder, calling the move an escalation that threatens regional stability and unfairly targets an allied government. The Chinese Foreign Ministry urged Washington to halt what it described as a pattern of coercion and threats against partners and stressed the need for dialogues based on mutual respect. A spokesperson said Beijing opposes unilateral actions that politicize legal processes and warned that such steps could undermine international norms and worsen tensions in the Western Hemisphere. Moscow voiced even stronger language, with the Kremlin saying the pressure being exerted on Havana borders on violence. Russian officials argued the charges risk further isolating Cuba and could provoke destabilizing responses. The Kremlin framed the U.S. move as part of a broader policy of interference in other countries' internal affairs, asserting that it complicates opportunities for diplomatic resolution and regional cooperation. The charges announced by U.S. prosecutors allege Raul Castro's responsibility in fatal acts linked to state security operations during his decades in power, accusations that have reverberated across international capitals. Washington says the case reflects its commitment to accountability for serious human rights abuses, while Havana has repeatedly denounced the indictment as politically motivated and an attack on its sovereignty. Analysts say the joint rebuke from Beijing and Moscow highlights growing geopolitical solidarity with Cuba and reflects broader friction between the three powers. China and Russia are signaling that they will defend partners against U.S. legal and political pressure, said a regional analyst. Their reactions also demonstrate how legal moves can quickly take on strategic significance. The episode adds strain to already tense relations between the United States and two major global players, with potential diplomatic and economic repercussions for Cuba. For now, Havana maintains strong rhetorical support from Beijing and Moscow, even as it navigates an uncertain legal and diplomatic trajectory. Final draft of a potential comprehensive peace agreement between the United States and Iran has been completed and could be officially announced within hours, diplomatic sources told Al Arabiya on Friday. The breakthrough proposal, brokered by Pakistan after weeks of intense regional conflict, outlines a structured framework to halt hostilities and restore diplomatic channels between Washington and Tehran. According to the sources, the draft addresses ceasefire terms, prisoner exchanges, mechanisms to prevent escalation, and phased steps for re-establishing embassies or liaison offices. Diplomats describe the text as the product of intensive trilateral talks and back-channel negotiations that accelerated over the past week as regional violence threatened wider confrontation. Pakistan's role was pivotal. Islamabad convened senior officials from both sides and hosted discreet meetings that helped negotiators iron out sticking points on security guarantees and verification measures. Analysts said the draft's timing reflects a mutual interest in de-escalation amid mounting international pressure and economic concerns. The proposal reportedly includes independent monitoring by a neutral party, timelines for withdrawal of proxy forces from contested areas, and commitments to resume high-level diplomatic contacts within a defined period. Both capitals have so far declined to comment publicly on the Al Arabiya report, but sources indicated that teams were finalizing legal language and coordination with regional partners before any formal announcement. World leaders and regional actors were said to be on standby to react should an official statement be issued. If confirmed, the agreement would mark a significant diplomatic shift after months of confrontation and could open the door to broader negotiations on nuclear and regional security issues. Observers cautioned, however, that the durability of any accord will depend on robust verification and sustained political will from all parties involved. That was the 7 Days Report Show. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsiloyanis. Before signing off, I would like to thank you for listening to our news. Until next time, stay informed and be safe. Goodbye.